You are now joining the meeting.
Hello, this is Derek. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'm going to turn it over to Coach. We're going to start practice here in a little bit and then take off for Rutgers. So I'll turn it over to Coach now.
Good morning.
Morning, Coach.
Really, if I guess there's a somewhat of a silver lining, I felt like we played, and going back over the Purdue game, felt like we played pretty well. We had 6 really poor possessions defensively in transition, and of which they scored 14 points, or maybe it was 15, where it was just communication breakdowns on our part. But a great player, and I mean a great player, a great offensive player got going. And those guys are very difficult. You can see why Purdue is one of the best offensive teams in the country. They pose a tremendous amount of problems with size and with perimeter shooting. But I like where we were at offensively. I thought we got whatever we wanted, and that end wasn't really a problem for the first time this year. But that one's behind us now, and a much needed day off yesterday to kind of gain our wits again and freshen up and get guys treatments, and then we'll go here for Rutgers, a game that we obviously won the first and played well. Trent went on a big run in the first half to bust open a tight game, but we'll get a Rutgers team that's hungry on their home court, and we're going to have to continue to play well.
Brad, this is Mark. Was there any, or do you know if there was any after effect with DeMonte? It looked like he maybe tweaked his knee just a bit. I know he played, but was wondering how he was feeling.
Yeah, I think it scared him more than anything. He kind of landed a little bit, but I just got done working out, and he was in the gym before I was this morning, working, getting shots. So Paul said he was good, and that's all I know is he was in a full leather as I walked up here for this conference call.
Okay.
So we were off yesterday, and that helps. Guys can come in and get treatment and do their cold tubs and everything else. So I'm sure that helped DeMonte, but he looked good today.
Hey Brad, Scott Ritchie. You mentioned the offense against Purdue, and maybe you add in the first half against Michigan State. Is that about as close as an approximation of what they made the offense you see in your head as maybe coming out on the court as well?
Getting a lot closer. And the half court stuff has been pretty good, and we still can't play maybe as fast as I want, and we're getting 3-point shooting from some different places. Mainly LaRon, Kipper, and that's helped a great deal. Then Trent makes a few, but we're getting a lot closer, Scott. I mean, it's the ball movement, the assist totals are up. Every segment where we play good offense, it's because we share the ball and the ball doesn't stick. And I like the options. I like the diversity. We're starting to be able to scheme a little bit with different matchups as we did in the Purdue game, trying to exploit Isaac in the middle and different matchups. But we're getting there.
I mean, does it maybe take a game like Purdue for the team to see what this offense can be? I mean, is that just as a boost to their confidence, or just to
I think so. I mean, you got a top 10 team. you have a top 10 team in the country who's known for their defense, to be very honest, and you know, the guys have to learn to trust, and they have to trust their teammates, and they have to trust the offense, and they're starting to understand. You know, a guy like Tijon, he's gained tremendous confidence because he's still been able to score the basketball, and it hasn't been because of threes. Now he's confident. Now he's playing at a different, you know, with a different confidence level, and that jump shot goes in. And you know, so it's trusting the offense and trusting that there are ways to score the basketball. You know, and that versatility is important. So, you know, I hope our guys are gaining confidence in it and starting to trust it a little bit.
Brad, is it fair to say that is it fair to say that your guys they look like they played really hard for pretty much every minute the other night? Is it fair to say that maybe early in the season they didn't know how to play that hard for that long? It looks like they're learning how to sustain that and not have lulls of effort.
Well, again, I think we've grown there. You know, I think that there's you know, I tell guys that it's you know, being in great shape isn't pacing yourself. It's not how long you can play. It's how quickly you can recover. And understanding that, you know, it's okay to give it all and ask to come out. That's being unselfish. And you know, I think we sub 5 guys at a time there at the open by the first media or right there close to it, and that's okay. And I want guys to play hard. You know, we still aren't where I want it to be. It's still not quite hard enough in terms of doing the little things and the toughness things and the charges and the making the extra effort. It's, you know, we make the first 2, we got to make the 3rd and the 4th effort better. But we're much better than we were a month ago. And light years ahead of where we were early.
And Brad, I know we've discussed LeRon and his improvements a lot this season, but the dunk he had where he got the ball at the top of the key and then just drove through the lane and just super aggressively. I mean, I don't think that's a play he's ever done in a game during his Illinois career. Just when you see something like that, what does that trigger in you where he makes a move like that?
Well, the best part of that is he screamed after he did it. You know, we saw some emotion and some, and LeRon is we all know LeRon's good. LeRon can impact our team beyond what he can imagine with his play by just having that kind of emotion. Sure, that's a physical thing that we love. I mean, he's expanded his ball handling. It's what we do. We work on ball handling almost every day, and in the off season, it's every day and multiple times a week during the season. And for him to be able to do that, and we talk about finishing through people, and that means dunking balls and not trying to dipsy-do and do all that fancy stuff. That's a big-time play, and those plays become very contagious, and they generate emotion, and they ignite a crowd, and there's so many positive ramifications for that single play. But yeah, the physical part he's improved greatly. I love the scream after. That's the stuff where you get some swagger and some confidence.
Brad, does Rutgers look any different from the first time you saw them?
Yeah, they're doing a few different things. They've got the young kid, the shooter back from that didn't play in the first game. So you know, they're very good on the glass. They're big. They're going to. I'm sure they're going to play with a different energy level than maybe they played in the first one. But we didn't play any good in the first half. The first half we broke it open because Trent hit 4 or 5 in a row, and we didn't run offense very well. We were very, very poor. We've improved light years since that moment in that game. So, but yeah, they're a little different. The young man that hurt his knee, you know, everybody kind of thought that might be a season-ending type deal, but he's back and playing, and he was a non-factor in our game because of that injury, and he's one of their better players. So, you know, it's a good, solid Rutgers team who's playing the heck out of everybody at home.
Coach, this is Derek Piper. How big is this game for your culture when you're playing your fourth game in 8 days? You're not playing an opponent that has a top 10 ranking next to their name. Kind of have that same level of effort and focus as you did against Purdue.
Well, it's everything I'm going into with this about. This is the time of season one. You want to be playing your best. No matter where you're at, you want to play your best. I don't want there to ever be any doubt or hint of anything else other than being an everyday guy, and that's why we have it in our locker room. And okay, it's not a top 10 team, and I don't know what their crowd will be. I'm sure it'll be great. It's senior day, but it's the next game, and that's just as I look at. Today's our next practice and preparing for the next game, and we've got a job to do, and that's kind of how we plow through this. So, you know, it's fourth game in 8 days. It's another one-day prep since we had the day off yesterday, and you know, guys got to get dialed in and focused, and we got to continue to grow. And I'll expect them to play just as hard as we did in the last two.
How important is it to take those steps culturally, offensively, down the stretch in year one of your tenure, and what value could that add going into the offseason?
Oh, I think it's tremendous. I mean, I think every day is a growth day, and I use that word a lot. And you know, we're still continuing to learn. And it's like I said, you know, we're going to show 3 or 4 clips here in the Purdue game where we don't communicate in transition. And we bailed out on 3 charges. And you got to make those plays to beat the 10th ranked team in the country. And then we're going to show them a couple plays where they make them, and where they got a loose ball. And all those things are about growth. Yet, you know, we're a couple plays away, a couple possessions away, a couple missed layups away. You know, from being right there and having an opportunity to beat a top 10 team. So I'm not into moral victories. That's not what this is about. But I am into us getting better every day, and we are getting better. And I hope our guys really, truly believe that, because we are.
Hey, Brad, one question about Ebo. I see Fletch walking around with that bag of death or whatever it is that he hauls around, and does he have anything in there in the off season that can make Ebo's hands stronger?
He got a lot of things. Yeah, you know, I think the one thing with Greg is there maybe uncertainty is the right word. I don't want to say lack of confidence, because I think he has some confidence. I think it's just you know, a really big adjustment. But he does have to get stronger. You know, one of the biggest things for Greg is just strengthen his legs. Obviously we want him bigger up top, but you know, where he can hold position and not feel like every time he gets touched or bumped that he's off balance. And you know, it's the old cliche. And freshmen become, you know, best thing about a freshman is he becomes a sophomore, and you know, an off season with Fletch will do wonders, and you know, I would expect he'll be 15 to 20 pounds, and you know, the before and after picture will be startling.
Coach, was that three by Mark Smith at the end of the first half that ultimately got waved off? Was that a moment where you said, "Yeah, that's the kid that I recruited. That's the kid maybe I even see in practice"?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't. I've never lost confidence in Mark. I think Mark's got a tremendous set of tools to work with, and I think there's, you know, everybody runs the race at a different pace, and not everybody can. That doesn't mean you can't cross the finish line exactly where you want to finish, and so I've got tremendous confidence in Mark. And every time the ball leaves Mark's hands, I truly believe that. The one in the corner that he shot, I thought it was going in. And there's going to be a point in his career where this young man's going to make more shots and help us win a lot of games because that ball will go in. So, yeah, that's why I play Mark. I got confidence in him. I think there's a lot he brings to the table, and he continues to get better defensively because he's got pride. And so I don't judge anybody based on what he did in high school or what they do. It's a different animal. It's apples and oranges. And Mark learned a valuable lesson late in the game. Driving the ball into 7'2", 300 pounds probably isn't a great option, and it's what we talked about yesterday. You know, that's where you've got to develop a floater, and every good guard has that, and that's something that, you know, he's like, yeah, you're right. So, but I have tremendous confidence in Mark.
Hey, Brad, it was reported yesterday that Jim Delaney said the condensed Big Ten schedule wasn't healthy, won't be repeated. I was just curious your reaction to that.
Well, I mean, I think that there's challenges. I think that I don't know the exact number. I would venture to say we've probably been at 9 or 10 one-day preps this year, maybe more, 8 or 9 probably. And that's the way the calendar falls along with this. But listen, Jim's way smarter than I am, and I think he understands, and I think there's it's what's in the best interest for the student athletes. And yeah, we're going to get back and have our conference tournament back on the last weekend, and there were challenges, and it's been a challenge here for us. But you know what? The schedule is what it is, and we're going to show up and play. And but yeah, I was glad to hear that, though. Thanks, guys.
Is there anything?
What? Sorry, go ahead.
Is there anything that Fletch can do to prep the managers for the weight of these suitcases on this trip?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think the first thing we need to do is make sure that all of our players have enough undergarments, and that they're weighted. There's a challenge to weight them correctly, and deodorant, toothpaste, undergarments, the right number of socks. But yeah, it is sick how much I have packed, and it is. I'm trying to manage the suits, and but the dress shirts become a problem, and then it's piled on from there. So yeah, it's a good thing we're not flying commercial. We would have a small fortune in baggage fees.
Well, travel safe.